Okay. Hello, everybody. I know 2 videos, same week. Crazy. I really wanted to just make another video adding on to the past couple videos talking about the tick index, mainly because there were some interesting things that happened on Friday, June 13th, that I think are beneficial for us to talk about with tick and just understanding the intricacies of it, the ideas behind the trading. I know we've talked about spotting market reversals. We've talked about how holding above the zero line up here to there is positive on the day and there's positive momentum, and then holding below zero line consistently throughout the day is negative momentum and potentially, possibly for the market to be going down. Now, I'm also going to tell you that trading in general, there's no way yet you can predict what the market is going to do. Um, the goal for trading and investing in general, you got to have your objectives, you've got to have your rules, you got to have your goals, but you also have to be able to manage your risk. You got to treat it like it's a business. If you're not managing your risk and you're just losing tons of money all the time, your business is going to fail. You're going to run out of funds. So I just wanted to preface that because I think some people, they take the idea that is given to them and then they run with it and they say, okay, well, it didn't work that time. I'm going to drop it. I'm going to let go of it. Well, yeah, because people like it when things only work for them all the time. But when things don't work all the time, they forget that they need to possibly adjust things. Maybe they miss something. Maybe the trade just didn't even work that day, just because of something that happened in the market. And that's kind of what happened this past Friday on June 13th. Today is Saturday, June 14th. That's what happened this past Friday in the trading. And I'm going to explain how I was able to benefit from it and profit from what the tick index was doing and some of the other stuff that I watched, but we can dive into that into another video potentially. But I really wanted to focus on tick and what's going on. Anyways, I digress. That was just a little spiel that I wanted to, some thoughts that I was having, and hopefully that gets you some guidance on what was going on. So let's dive into it. Here's the tick. I've got it pulled up once again. I use Thinkorswim, so $ tick up there. But let's add on the comparison of SPX, because remember, I trade XSP options, SPX options, and I also trade SPY options. Let's make this blue and then hit apply. So it's not going to line up perfectly with what we've got because there's two different axes that we're looking at. This is SPX over here. This is the tick over on the right side. So leading into the day, we had the Israel-Iran news. Iran had attacked Israel. Israel had attacked Iran. That happened first. Then Iran retaliated, sent some missiles their way, and we went down on the day and we gapped down. That's news. There's nothing you can do about that. If it affected positions that you were holding overnight, well, I hope you managed your risk correctly. Because when new stuff like this happens, you just have to learn how to manage your risk and understand that sometimes this stuff happens. It's not every day, but when it does happen, be prepared. You got to be ready. Manage your risk, position size correctly when there's uncertainty and volatility in the market. So tick opened up way down here at the bottom. I mean, 1200, that's a crazy reading, but that's because we were down on the day. So there are a lot of companies and stocks that were trading down on the day, right off the open. Now here's where maybe a little bit more of an advanced understanding of tick comes in. So you see how we've got tick going up right here, and then SPX right here is tumbling down. That is a divergence. And when divergences are happening between an oscillator that maybe you're using, such as RSI or MACD, and price action in the market, your probability that it's going to go the opposite direction in is pretty high. I don't know what the probabilities are, but I would say that it's more likely to go in your favor if you're looking for a reversal. So that's what I did going into the day. I started off, I saw a tick way down here. SPX was coming down, but the tick, see, you got higher lows, higher lows, higher highs, higher highs, higher highs, higher lows. I mean, that's trending up, but this was going the opposite direction. So I thought to myself, there's some breadth in the market that is increasing and it's going up. There's actually companies that are starting to get some upward momentum. Potentially, maybe SPX and SPY is going to reverse and the S&P 500 is going to go up and potentially recover. It did recover. It actually got above it. We didn't fill the gap that was there, but that's okay. It did recover eventually. And then we started to fade because, people started to see that the conflict was still raging, that there's still missiles being sent, and there wasn't going to be any conflict resolution. It was starting to escalate. And so people, they started taking their profits, and we were going into the weekend. It's a Friday. I'm in Phoenix time, so 10 o'clock, that's like 1 o'clock Eastern. You've got the bigger funds and the traders started to come in and they started to unload positions and take some of their profits because nobody wants to go into a weekend of uncertainty, especially with potential war brewing upon us. And then, yeah, it started to go down. So you get some crazy reading, you get another crazy reading, but you can see that we are starting to go down together. I didn't take anything at this time, but at 11, between 11 and 11:20, we had some news come from Iran that they were sending missiles to Israel. And this is what I wanted to talk about as well today. So we had talked about the divergence here. So maybe I can just draw some lines. So let's just look at this. We're going, there's the upward trend in tick. And then here is the downward trend in SPX. And let's make these different colors. What should we do? Orange? Let's do orange. Just so you can see that. So here's that. There's the divergence. This is going down. Tick is going up. So we profited from reading that. Now I did get in a little bit early on my trade. So I was losing for like 10 minutes. It wasn't past where I put my stop losses on my options that I'm trading. So it worked out. And then we shot back up. And we started to come up because news hadn't come out. Nothing had been happening yet. So there's that divergence. Now, what I want to focus on is right here. This area right here. So let's think about this. What do you see? What do you notice? You've got a bunch of readings of tick holding and hugging 1000. Now remember in the last video we talked about maybe a candlestick going down and then catching a reversal back up. Now what I want to talk about today and help you understand is if you see that there are readings like this over and over and over and over and over again, then there's this right here. We just keep tagging higher. We just keep going lower, just keep going lower. This is showing you that there's a strong downtrend. Now we already were in that downtrend here. We were pretty much hugging below zero after 9:30, 10 o'clock. We were mostly below zero with all of our readings. But this right here was the accumulation of news coming out saying that, okay, Iran sending missiles to Israel, better be prepared. Let's see what's going to happen. So the market started to dump off and volatility started to increase. And so we get selling off in the stock market and an incredible amount of selling off. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row. Pretty 8 down there. Within 11:20 to let's see, 11:06 to 11:38. What was that, like 30 minutes? 32 minutes? Just about of constant selling. And look at SPX. Look at the dive. We went from 6,010 all the way down to 59, 59.60, 68 or something like that. I mean, that's a move. Boom. We just dropped 40 points right there. That hasn't been happening regularly. Now, yeah, we went up right here, but that's because the market was trying to recover and then news happened. So you get these, if you get pinned down here, just expect that that momentum is moving downward tremendously. And you even have it here. We tried to recover right here, up, 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 up. Barely recovered. There just wasn't any volume coming in because nobody wants to hold positions that could be risky positions when there's a weekend coming up and we don't know what's going to happen. And Israel and Iran are ahead of the United States with their time difference. And then here we have this again. See, came down here. We started to dump. We dumped again. So, I wanted to show that to give a little bit deeper dive into it. So, what do we talk about? We've got divergences with tick and SPX. There's that. There's your divergence. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. It's going up. Now, I know I'm showing this on where they're combined, the two charts, and maybe I'll show you what it looks like on my chart, and I'll hide all my indicators and whatnot that I use in the studies. So divergence, that's the first thing that we talked about. And then we talked about news hits, and we started hugging negative 1,000, which is showing you what exactly? That there is strong downward momentum moving during this time frame. So we'll see what happens on Monday. I don't know. We're going to have to just pay attention over the weekend. There could be potential for some possible recovery. I mean, the only sector up on Friday was energy. It's been up the most over the past 5 days. And when energy goes up, typically your stock market starts to get stagnant, it consolidates, and we could potentially fall a little bit, have a little bit of a correction from the upward move that we did, which was significant. So divergences, pay attention to those. Accumulation down at the extremes gives a strong indication that there's a trend. And in the last video, what did we talk about? We talked about these market reversals here. Now this one, I mean, not big, but that's because volatility was there and whatnot. So let me show you what I'm looking at on my end. So let's clear those. Clear drawing set from tick. Oh, I just got rid of my 1,000 lines. That's okay. Okay, so let's go to SPX, because that's what we watch. 1 day, 2 minute, and let me remove all of these. Okay, so here's my tick from, I keep my tick over here. I'm going to draw these back in. Sorry. It's going to bother me. And you get to see how you draw stuff in. So, what did I just do? I don't know where it just went. Did I type in? Oh, I put it at 10,000. Whoops. Too many zeros. Okay, there's that. Then you can duplicate it and you can just drag it down here, edit properties, put negative 1,000. Say okay. And then we'll draw my 0 line in. 0. I make that white. Okay, there you go. That's that. Let's get rid of the prices. Do not show. Oh, geez, man. I really screwed myself up. Sorry. Well, you get to see that not everything goes perfectly in a video. And it's not going to get edited out either. I'd change the color on that. Do not show. Okay, there's that. So that's back to normal. So I have tick over here, and then I have my chart over there. And I have my options up here on the right. So tick's here, SPX, ES, SPY, XSP, whatever I'm thinking about trading that day is right there. So remember, it's a little bit easier to see the divergence. We had divergence here pop up, divergence, then we started to trickle down, and right here is where all of that Israel news started to happen. And yeah, so that's where that happened. That's my setup. I use that, and I got a bunch of indicators that I use that we can go into that, but a little bit more of an advanced explanation of tick, where we come down, there's divergence. Divergence is probably a great indication. Doesn't always show up, isn't always there, but it's a pretty, I really like it. I use it sometimes and not all the time because, like I said, it's not always present. And then these, but most of the time, you're just going to get those market reversals. So divergence, divergence, up, down. It could be the opposite too. Tick could be going on and this could be going up as well. So you got to think about that. And what does that divergence mean? It means that the price action is coming down and this is changing and going the opposite direction. So there's that. I mean, you could even, yeah, we'll stick with that. That's my tick right there. This is the setup. So we look for dive today. Just a quick explanation, probably a lot of information, but what I want you to do, I want you to go out and I want you to go look at it and find it yourself. And I want you to practice seeing it because you can learn something and not apply it at all. You go watch a video, which many people do on YouTube. They just watch videos, but they don't actually go out and do the thing. Like a cooking video, you could watch a cooking video, but you never make that thing ever. You enjoyed the video, but you never went out and did it. And that's my invitation to you. Go out, look at tick, see where things are going on, understand it for yourself. Look for the reversals. Look for the divergences. Look for the accumulations down here. So here, let's try to go find some. So let's expand this. Let's just go back 5 days for the weekend. Let's walk through some of them. So here's that. I'll expand this to 5 days as well. So let's go back 5 days. So we've got 6-9. Here's 6-9. This is also, what day is this? This is also, is this 6-9? I don't know, my thing is there. Yeah, 6-9. So what do you see here with the tick? Tick is holding above 0 pretty much all day. Like, yeah, we didn't get anything crazy, but look at SPX. Climb, 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 climb. Climb, 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 climb. Way all above 0. Look how much that. I mean, yeah, you get readings down here. That's going to happen, but for the most part, all of these are drastically above 0 until the end of the day. They sold off. Then we get these crazy readings. But most of us won't be trading in this time frame. Okay, let's go to the next day. Well, that's interesting. What is this? What's going on here? Oh, we're climbing up. There's a little bit of a divergence. You can see it. Slight divergence. We're still holding above 0, but this is going up. We're going down. Higher highs, lower lows over here. And then all of a sudden, you get the knife drop happen, and you get a crazy reading outside of the zone. And this is what I explained the other day, that I took this trade, and we took the trade here, boom, and we got out right there. But then it just kept going because that's just where the market was going. People didn't like that it dropped off. Could have been a big institution, could have been something else bigger. There could have been a support line, but this is the market chasing liquidity, and you can see it right there. And then let's see, we get up, still going lower. We're up, 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 drops down. And here's the market reversal again. Boom. Then you just wait, 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 wait. And then you get the rip up, but then we get this again. There's those big there's those reversals that we're talking about. Okay, let's go to the next day. This is 6-11. This is how I practice, everybody. So I'm just giving you some insights. 611. I don't believe that I didn't trade this day. I just didn't have time. I had other stuff going on. But it's wild. I don't even remember what happened this day. I'd have to look. But holy divergence. Look at this. 6:34, 8 o'clock. Let's see. Where does 8 o'clock happen? Look at the divergence right there. And then we started to get readings below zero. Boom, 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 boom. We dropped. Didn't like it. Came back up. Then we dropped again. But there was the divergence. We're going up, but this is going down. Then you get a crazy reading down here, almost 1,000 at 908. 908's right here. You could have gotten in. Could have. Maybe you didn't like it because it didn't touch 1,000, so you stayed out of it. Totally fine. But maybe you see that there starts to be a reversal here, and then we went up, and then we tanked. Okay, tank's relative because it's 650 down to 6,000. 6,000 is a big number right now, everybody. It's something that everybody's been looking for. Then we go up, get those reversals. There's one at 1104. That's 1102 right there. You could have taken that trade. You could have made some money on that because the quick move. Then at 1116, that would have been a banger trade right there. Like I said, it's not perfect. It doesn't always work. There you go. Boom. Okay, let's go to 612. What's happening on 612? Let's find out. That's interesting. 826. What's this? 824. You get that? It started to go up. Now this is a grind up. He could have made something, but yeah, I mean the market just went up that day. Probably because we see, look at this, we dropped off and we basically came back up to where we started to drop off. So that's just the market going back to where it was after the big sell-off. This day could have been a little bit harder to read. 10:02. What happened at 10:02? It's kind of interesting, right? You get a here. Let's highlight this. I mean, this is an abnormal wick because it just tagged it, but it kind of the candle's all the way down here. I mean, you didn't. The candles weren't like up here and then it wicked down. It's like basically right there. So that was an interesting one at 10:02. We actually went higher on that mainly because we were up there. So there's that. So yeah, that day would have been a little bit more challenging to figure out. Maybe you just don't trade that day. You could have, but then we came to the day we just explained. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to go look around inside of Tick and figure out what the heck is going on. Why is it doing what it's doing? Why did the market move like that? And you can see it's helpful. It's just a tool that you can add to whatever you're using to maybe help you spot potential losing trades. So yeah, I hope you have a good weekend. Please go out and practice. I know I rambled on this video a lot. I didn't really have a script for this one. I just wanted to put it together, so it's just me free ball talk. Free. We're just riffing. That's probably the word that I would use. We're just riffing, giving a spiel. So yeah, see what happens. Have a good one.